your guy Harrison Butker doubles down on his comments, saying he wants the best for people.
Hell
Listen
yeah!
to the video.
Appreciated all the feedback. I know when it comes to football, I don't really look at the comments, good or bad, towards me, but with it being the off season and stating a lot of these things, I was really curious as to what people would be saying back to me, and I respected all the viewpoints. But in terms of what I said, I prayed about it and I thought about it, and I was very intentional with what I said, and I stand behind what I said. And I really believe if people knew me as a person and understood that I was coming from a place of love and not a place of trying to attack or put people down, that I only want the best for people, and that's what I was trying to say there.
I'm glad he did it. I'm glad he didn't apologize and renege and pull out and fuck all that. I'm glad. I'm so glad. You know what's crazy? It's ironic, and you have to really do a deep dive, even when you're voting in this political space that we're in an election year. You got to really look at the P's and the Q's, the squares and the circles, and see if they really, really add up. And the one thing I'll say is, when you speak about God nowadays, over the last probably 10 years, you speak about God, Jesus, prayer, Christianity, any of these things that most of us grew up on. Now it's canceled. You're a villain and you should be castrated. That is from the cancel culture minority in America. We look at anything when you speak about God, Bible, Jesus, it's looked down on now. But you got a guy like Tim Walz who's running for VP, who's faked and frauded basically everything he's about. It's being pulled out there. You're actually seeing live actual video of him lying. And then we'll still dismiss that. And we'll think about it. We'll actually like praise this guy who got rid of prayer in high schools in Minnesota, who's put tampons in boys' bathrooms and doesn't address God in a way that we all grew up on. We're actually endorsing that guy, shitting on Harrison Butker. It's fucking wild. You got to really do a deep dive and look at that. God, for some reason, now has become second nature. It's like, it's not even second nature. God and Jesus and the prayer and the Bible and Christianity has become like a fallacy or something. But you'll praise the devil, though, as if he's real. It's fucking wild, bro. Just telling you. I don't think people really forward think and are really deep thinkers anymore. I think we just see what's on a vertical clip on social media, and then we fucking run with it. It's fucking crazy. It goes both ways. It's actually crazy, though, that we've eliminated God and done this way. We've gone this way. I'm just telling you. This is a little my 2 cents on that. Upside down world. I'm glad. I'm glad he's standing on business. Because I know what he really said. I was the first one on this show when it came out that was like, I don't think you guys are really listening to what he said. And I think we've taken that and we've turned his words into a salad. And then we've created this narrative that he's out to get women and he's out to degrade women and he's out to say that women don't belong working and they should only be cleaning the house. It's not what he said at all. And I think we've used that and turned it on him. And it's crazy. And I'm so glad that he praises God. And I'm not even this big church-goer, God-fearing God, but I do walk by faith and not by sight. And at the end of the day, I'd rather believe than not believe. Come Judgment Day, all I know is when this guy is the number one jersey seller in the NFL, he's made more money this offseason than fucking Travis Kelce and endorsing the shot. And that, to me, is a sign that God still exists, homeboy.
Well, my thing is, listen, stand on what you believe in. So, yeah, I like the fact that he stood on it because that's what he believes in. Don't fake it and change it up because you worry about what people are saying. So that's what you believe in, whether people disagree or not. Cool. My main thing with the whole thing was I thought the timing was just poor. Like, I didn't think that, like, at that exact moment at a graduation filled with both obviously men and women, young men and women who are graduating, excited to get to the next step of their lives and use their degree for whatever career or passion they have. I thought the timing was wrong. That's my main thing. If it was like a different setting or different situation, I don't think people would have had the same reaction. Put it like that. I think the fact it was a graduation is where it's like, damn, it's kind of like damn. Like I think people felt like, well, I'm graduating and now I'm getting told that the the thing that you think I'm probably most proud of is just being like a mom, stuff like that. So that's what was my main thing. Smitty, we got Wado right here. Question for both of us.
Smitty, let me pop out for 30 seconds and open my front door. But you're a Christian and you believe in God. That's why I brought that up, because that's something that we both need to like look into and be like, man, I don't get it. Hold on.
Are you good? Wado, question for Jamie and Smitty. Do you think NFL should not induct players into the Hall of Fame each year if no one deserves it? Trying to maintain the standard and not overload the Hall of Fame. It's a good question, but nah, I don't think you just switch it. I think there's always somebody that deserves it. I know we have players here and there that people like question, like, should this guy have gotten in? Should this guy not have gotten in? I get it. That can go back to the beginning of time. You look at some of these like old school like quarterbacks, especially, who are in the Hall of Fame, or old school players who got in the Hall of Fame. You look at their numbers, you're like, what? But you got to think the era was different, right? So I don't think so. I mean, if you literally have a year where just nobody deserves it, I guess, sure. I just haven't seen a year where nobody deserves it. There's going to be question mark for some guys, and that's sports. We're going to debate and talk about who's better, who's worse. But even this year, I look at a guy like Dwight Freeney. He's one of the reasons I wanted to play football and be a defensive lineman. I remember the greatness of him and how Patrick Willis. We could say it was only 7 years, but it was 7 dominant years. Like, he was by far one of the top 3, top 5 guys at his position every single one of those years he was in the league. So I can go on and on with that. So I mean, great question. My answer is no. Not sure what JB would think on this one as well, because you don't want to water it down, but I don't think it's as watered down as we think. There's a few names here and there that we probably would debate, but overall, I think it's smooth. So, and then to JB's point, real quick before we move on, I do think that Christianity and like God and stuff has been removed in like a lot of ways. Whether it's just little stuff, movies, shows, just different little scenario where I feel like it has been removed. But I also think that some people, I'm not saying Harrison is, so I'm just talking, this is a general conversation. I do think sometimes people use God though, and use the Bible, use Christianity as a crutch to try to make their take valid. And sometimes I'm like, I got to read between the lines. I'm like, all right, just because you said God, or you said God fearing, because you brought up God in your take or in your conversation, doesn't automatically make what you're saying true, or it doesn't even make what you're saying come from the word. You know what I'm saying? I've been in church my whole life. I'm not some front to back read the Bible, read any verse like that, but I've been going to church pretty consistently my majority of my life. So like, I'm a guy that knows a lot when it comes to that area. So sometimes I do feel like people will use that as a way to like, it's like, oh, if I say it's coming from God, then I'm good. I can say what I want. Again, not saying Harrison said that. This is a general.
Let me. But I want to twist it at you and throw it back at you another way. If you are that way and you know what God fearing is and you know what it is, and you look at what's not, why don't that tell you the right way to go? Like, you can read through the lines and all that. I agree. Like, don't believe anybody. Go do your own shit.
Yeah.
But if you are a believer, as you say you are, and you are, I don't think you say you are, you are.
I am 100%.
Okay, then the shit that you see by these certain groups should tell you that's the way that I'm not.
It does. But the problem is, JB, I see things from both groups. So
that's
why
one is not God fearing. One is.
That's why there's a dilemma. Like when we say stuff like that.
Yeah, but one's totally against it.
That's why we always argue. I don't see a group as like, oh, this group is just all the way God fearing, do everything by the book. And this guy, this side is the devil. I don't think that. I see.
You're not going to have that.
That's not what the Bible said. That's not what Jesus. That's not.
But you're not going to have
telling
that.
People to handle stuff. So that's my issue with this stuff.
But you're not going to have that in this world. We live of the earth. We live of the world. We don't
live
exactly. Okay, so you're never going to have that. But you are going to see one group that is basically doing things that you're never going to agree with. That's not even close. As far as I always say, demonic, and when I bring up Newsom and all these things, and you're like, damn, that's a strong word. Why? And all this. And I've given my reason, but there's one side that you're like, okay, I don't agree with castration. I don't agree with boys playing girls. I don't agree with tampons in boys' bathrooms. I don't agree with shared bathrooms. I would never let my daughter or son around that. I don't agree with this trans LGBTQ movement that we're pushing down our throat. I don't believe in boys and girls walking around naked in front of babies. I don't believe in child trafficking. I believe all that right there is demonic. And I know that's one side, the left, that I don't agree with. On the right, if they were doing that, then I would be like, as I am anyway, an independent thinker, and stay down the middle as I do anyway because of your point. But I know what I'm not with. And that's the left side of this thing on all the reasons I just pointed out. The right side has its own flaws. I agree. But at the same time, it's like, hold on. This is not being pushed down my throat. We're not against the actual Bible when boys and girls are born what they are. That side is not against it. So that's why I'm like,
I hear you.
I gotta roll with what I know. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I just think some of the stuff that you listed is like the far left. And like we're using that to define just.
But that's who's running for president.
Just like there's some things. There's things on the far right that like, you know, what's the shit I brought up to you guys? I forgot the name of it now. Prop, whatever it's called. And Bailey and you both was like, come on, like Trump already said he's not doing that. That's some far right stuff. But like if I wanted to, I could be like, well, nah, the right, this was the right belief. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only thing.
You agree that that's a far left take. This is exactly who's running for president, though. This is who's endorsing it too. Governor Newsom is a far leftist. So is Kamala Harris. So is her husband, and so is this VP. They're far left. They're not just like President Reagan. This shit is like this has become that demonic side.